Okay, so here I am, and I'm sitting down. I get back up and turn this down a little so you can see me with that. There we go. All right, so you should be able to see this lab. I'm going to go through my information.
Mrs. Schultz, did you have to click record or you already did?
No, I already did.
Because I don't see it recording.
You shouldn't see it because it's not the Zoom
okay.
recording.
Okay.
It's the Ladybug that's recording. So, I have my clay here, and it's about 2 pounds. I have my 4 slats, okay? I also have my rolling pin. I have a piece of binder paper or typing paper or computer paper, call it what you will these days. And I'm going to make a mug right now that is approximately this size. So what's this size? This is about 4.5 inches tall. Yeah, about. And it is about 10 inches around. Okay, it's got a handle. This one is overlapping as opposed to butt end, and it has a bottom on it. So right now for this section, I'm going to show you how to make this slab and make the bottom and put it together. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. So I've got my clay. We want our clay to be longer and narrower. So by punching it down and then taking it, picking it up and kind of smooshing it down on the sides, I end up with clay that's a little longer and narrower. Go ahead and let them in and tell me who it is, Elvira, after. I'm not going to get up now. Okay, so there. So it's easier to get your clay to a thickness of about 1 inch before you start rolling it than starting out rolling it right away. It's just easier. So now I'm going to stand up. I find it's easier to stand up. I've got 2 slats on each side, and I'm going to roll that clay out. So I'm going rolling it towards me and away from me. As long as the clay is still moving, it's good. When it stops moving, you need to pick it up, flip it over, put your slats on each other, and start again. Do that. You can move your slats down. Okay, you can't see that in the camera so much. That's all right. You can see it moving there, though. I know you can. I'm going to pull it down a little bit, and I'm going to keep pushing as that gets longer and longer. Now, I'm going to show you. If your clay gets so long because you're 2 pounds and you think, oh my gosh, that's more than I need to deal with, go ahead and cut some off. So I cut a piece off, I'm going to move it over there. And I'm going to work with what I have here. I'm going to flip it over again because I want that clay to move. So there I'm rolling it towards me again and away from me. I move my slats on the side, bring that down, okay? So down, roll that out. I've got a little air bubble here, that's what you see crawling along. I'm gonna poke some holes in it, and I'm gonna roll it again. And that will get rid of that air bubble. There. Okay, so there's my clay. I can flip it over. Take a look at the other side, looks pretty good. So remember what we did before. We took our sponge with a little bit of water and we squeezed it out of there and we put a little water on there. Then we used our card, holding it with our fingers like this. And we pushed on our clay a little and smoothed it out. And I can tell right here I've got kind of a weird thing going on. You can try rolling it again, or when you cut it out, you can not use that section. So I'm going to use this again. Quick little roll, make sure it's all good. Good. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to smooth it out with my damp sponge, and I'm going to take my card and I'm going to smooth it out, my card. And again, I have kind of an unevenness here. So I'm going to push a little harder there. There. So I'm going to save one of my slats to use to cut with. I'm going to move that away, and I'm going to put my piece of paper here. Paper doesn't have to line up perfectly. You just want to make sure that it's on the clay. So if you take that, put your slat right up next to the edge of that paper and cut. You're good. I'm going to cut that off. All this clay can go back in your bag. Here, I'm going to cut this off. You can see that I'm lining that up. You'll see it when I do the other. I'm going to save this for my foot. And now I've got this side. I'm lining that up along that edge of my paper template. So remember, my template was approximately 4¼ inches by 11 or 10. I made my 10 because I folded it in an inch. So here's that top section. Again, I'm going to lay that there along the edge, and I'm going to cut that. So all I'm really using this slat for is to help me get a nice clean edge along my paper. Otherwise it's kind of hard because your line isn't very straight. Okay, so there's my slat. Here's my bottom. So when I want to start putting the mug together, I'm going to sit down now. I'm going to lift this up, move it over, and I'm going to turn this around like that. Okay? And I'm going to put these two ends together. So we take our scoring tool. We open this back up again a little bit. I'll show you in just a minute. We score it really well. There it is, scored really well. We take our slip. We take some slip out of the container here. You can use your brush, or you can use a wooden tool. I'm stirring my slip up, and I'm going to really put it on there. And remember, your slip should be smooth, not chunky. We want smooth peanut butter, not chunky. It makes a difference when it's soft and smooth. Then we're going to hold this up. I'm holding it up so I can show you. And I'm going to push that together. Okay, that's that. And then I'm setting it back down, and I'm pushing that together. There. So at this point, I would let it sit for a few minutes at least. Got a mess here. And then I would come back to it, and I would put a little coil along the outside. Okay. But because of time and trying to show you this next step, I'm going to take some of that slip off. So there's put together. I'm going to put a coil or something similar to that. So the easiest thing to do, move that over, is to slice off a thin piece of clay, not too thick, and then just gently put that on there. I'm going to show you. I'm going to hold my hand inside of there, and I'm going to put that on there. Okay. I'm going to move that out of the way for a minute, bring this back, and then what you want to do is you want to blend that in. So you can use your fingers and pull that over, or you can use a wooden tool, or you can use your metal tool. The point of it is to get that in. What we didn't do, and I was bad, is I didn't do my stitches there before I did this. So, can I get away with not having stitches in there? Yeah, you can, especially since it's just, we're building it so quickly. But if I wasn't building it quickly like this, I would have probably put some stitches in there. What do I mean by stitches? Do you remember what I meant by that? Before I put the coil on, I go along and I pull my clay together so that the join was pulled together. And then, with my coil on there, I'm going to smooth it out. Now, I'm going to add it to my bottom. Here's my bottom piece of clay that I had. And I'm going to set it on there. And I'm not going to cut it right next to it because it's really hard to do. I'm going to cut it away just a little bit. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to stand up. It makes it easier to see from the back side. And I'm going to cut all the way around. And this time I don't have to be so perfect when I do it. There. And then this clay can be put away. Along with this extra clay right now, you don't need that. Okay? So all that can go away. So now I'm going to take this. This is my bottom here. This is my bottom piece. And I'm going to use my scoring tool. Score. And I'm going to score this. I'll go back in and clean up all the interior later. That's a different segment, right? So you can either use your brush or you can use a wooden tool. Since I've been using my wooden tool, I'm going to go ahead and use it. And remember, you want to have it be as creamy as possible, not chunky. So if you're putting your dry clay in your slip thing, when you cut parts off and stuff, it'll never turn to really good slip. Stick it in a plastic bag, like I've been doing, and clean it up later, rather than sticking it in your slip. Try to keep your slip all by itself, just being slip. It really makes a big difference. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. So now I can either put this on top or I can flip the other piece over. So this is your first section, okay? And I'm going to let that sit. And I definitely am going to put it in a bag. And it's going to sit in a plastic bag for a little bit and set up. You can come back to it later, especially if you're not going to come back to it tomorrow. Just set it in that plastic bag and put it to the side, okay? So that's segment number 1. 5 minutes. How long did I do?